examination coaching for UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level Exam, and also the CLAT examinations. So do visit AKSIS Academy and also its website of www.aksias.com. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Thumala, and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and analysis of Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you to just a moment. Yeah, this session will definitely help you to clear prelims and mains examinations, because throughout my lecture I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. And these keywords and the key phrases I would be emphasizing, which will be actually being picked up from the daily news analysis. So the importance to be looked at is the key phrases and the key words, and these key phrases and the key phrases and keywords which we will be emphasizing, and through that we will identify the factual, analytical, and also the conceptual questions which will be very important for the preliminary examinations. So thereby we will be focusing on the preliminary examinations, wherein you will have an edge over others in the entire daily news analysis. And along with that, by imbibing the keywords and the key phrases, will also be useful for the mains, especially in regards to your answer writing. So definitely your answer writing is a key in regards to the mains, how you much or how better you score in the mains examination, and that is possible when your answers are precise and concise. And only then, when your answers are precise and concise, you would certainly score higher marks in the mains examinations. Thereby you will also be having an edge over others both in prelims as well as mains examinations. So this session, that is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Thumala, will certainly help you to clear or have an edge over others in regards to prelims and mains, both for 2020 and the one who is also preparing for 2021 also. And this session, that is daily news analysis, which we would be taking up today's daily news analysis, that is 3rd of September 2020, wherein I emphasize and reiterate my tagline, that is emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. And this, you need to get into the mode of identifying the keywords and the key phrases, wherein your preparation for both prelims, mains, and also for the interview, it will be very useful. So therefore my session, wherein I would be focusing on the emphasis on the keywords and the key phrases, would also make you get into the practice of emphasizing the keywords and the key phrases, which will be useful for the prelims as well as mains examinations. And before we get into the topic, I would say a very good morning to all who are in the live and also in the live chat. And I would request once again that the one who is in the live but not in the live chat, please do make sure that you are available in the live chat also, so that you can frame your question, you can ask your doubts, so that it can be discussed and it can be useful for others who are also listening this daily news analysis of AKSIS Academy. And I would say very good morning to Pawan, Rahul, Harika, G. Virachari, Malvika Sajivan, Praveen Kumar, D. Suvarna, Ram Kumar, Satyala, Bhargav, Gopinayak. Very good morning to you all, and a warm welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News channel, which is of the daily news analysis. And Prithviraj has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Prithviraj, to AKSIS Academy for daily news analysis. And the quote of the day, is: each new day is a new opportunity. Each new day Each new day is a new opportunity to what? To improve yourself. And then you take it. What you take it? You take the opportunity to improve yourself and make it the most of it. So what is important is that you need to get into the mode of identifying the opportunities which are actually lying for you. And what is important is you need to grab the opportunity. There are opportunities for sure for each and every individual. There are opportunity, but what is very important is that you need to grab the opportunity, and each new day is a new opportunity. So definitely you have abundance of opportunity in front of you, and it is up to you. You take it and you improve yourself, and when you grab the opportunity, only then you can improve the prospects of you attaining to success or achieving the goal, final goal. So each new day is a new opportunity, and that is very important. You grab it and make most of it and improve yourself. Okay, before I get into the daily news analysis, Dilip Kumar has joined. A very warm welcome to you, Dilip Kumar. And Dilip Kumar says, no need to explain code this much, it is a self-explanatory. Yes, definitely codes are self-explanatory. I do take it into consideration, Dilip. But what is important is that when a civil servant aspirant is able to understand it, or it is being said, it is more impact. I would be focusing on the impact rather than self-explanatory. What is the impact on you all? That is important. Probably it would be self-explanatory to you. I seriously accept it. It could be, but my concentration is not only on Dilip Kumar but to everyone. So do understand the importance of all the others who are in the live and who would be again watching this throughout the day. So Dilip, I suppose you understand why I take up this, and I would certainly take up this, and I would certainly take up explaining the code so that it will be useful for you, and it is definitely useful for everyone, because my concentration has to be on each and every student, not only on Dilip. Fine. Thank you very much, Dilip, and I hope you understand the impact of it. The impact is very important, because everyone knows everything, but it is always explained, and when it is explained, you get the most of it. That is what the teaching is all about. That is the relation you have between the teacher and the students, and that is what it binds. And then Sivanandam has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Sivanandam, to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And we'll get into the topic, that is the daily news analysis, wherein you have the news which talks about the Lok Sabha Secretariat. So Lok Sabha Secretariat has officially released the schedule of the monsoon parliament session. So who would release the schedule? It is Lok Sabha Secretariat. Again, this is the keyword what you need to understand, because there could be a possibility that which among the following. It could be a very trivial question. Very, what do you say? You might think this is a very a question which is not UPSC standard, because there is nothing that UPSC standard looks at very low or high. It always looks at the logic. It always looks at the area wherein most of the students or aspirants do not concentrate. So it is the Lok Sabha Secretariat which has officially released the schedule. It releases the schedule of what? The monsoon parliament or parliament session. And this time for the monsoon parliament session, it is the Lok Sabha Secretariat which has officially released the schedule. And we will look at what is in the schedule and why there is importance that we need to look at the schedule, because in the schedule it is very clear that they have dropped, in the schedule they have dropped what? The question hour. And this is very important for our civil services examination, that is UPSC, considering it as a keyword, so question hour is been dropped. Question hour is been dropped in the schedule. So we have to focus on the question hour, and the oppositions are raising the concern that question hour has to be part of the schedule. It should not be dropped. Why? Because the opposition leaders or many of the political parties say that it is when you drop the question hour, it encroaches upon the members' right. So the question hour is the members' right of raising the concerned issues, and it gives the opportunity for the members to raise the issues so that the government can answer to the questions which are being raised by the opposition members. And this, by dropping the question hour, the members or the opposition leader says that it is denying the members right, and it is also denying the opportunity to question the government. So along with the question hour, which is the one which is also been dropped, is the private members business. So in view of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, private members business, which is usually on every Friday, has also been skipped. So what is been skipped or dropped? First one is the question hour is been dropped, and then the private members business is been skipped. So this is how we need to focus for the UPSC preliminary examinations. And the oppositions are raising that they need to at least make sure that the 0 hour should continue. So opposition is requesting the presiding officer, both the houses, that the 0 hours should continue for at least 30 minutes, because 0 hours is the one which is immediately followed after the question hour. 0 hour is the one which is immediately followed after the question hour. So question hour is the first hour of the day, but that is from 11 to 12 am, and from 12 to 1 is a 0 hour. So this we need to understand for the prelims point of view. So the Lok Sabha Secretariat has released the schedule, keeping in mind that they have dropped the question hour and the private members business and the 0 hour. The oppositions are asking, let there be actually at least a 30 minutes of 0 hours wherein MPs can raise the issue on the important, which are really important for the people, citizens, or for the nation itself. And Vijaya has joined, Madhu has joined, Veera Satya has joined. A warm welcome to you all to AKSIS Academy. And this is the additional information. So what is that we have focused is the keywords. So we have focused the keywords on the question hour and the private members business and the 0 hour. And these are the keywords which are very important for the prelims in regards to the polity and for the UPSC examination. So this is the additional information which I have taken for you, so that you will have an edge over others when, if at all, there is a question being framed in the UPSC in regards to the question hour. And this question hour is the first hour of the every parliamentary sitting question hour. And this, during this time, that is the question hour, as I said, from 11 to 12. Generally the first hour of the parliamentary session is at the 11 am. So the question hour, it starts at the first hour, and during this time the members ask the questions. So please do understand here, the members ask the questions to whom? And to the ministers, and ministers do answer to the questions which are asked by the members. So here what you need to consider is the member and the ministers. So members ask the questions in the first hour, that is the question hour, and the members ask the question and the ministers do answer to the questions being questioned by the members. And here when we are talking about the question hour, there are three kinds of questions. So one is start questions, unstart questions, and then short notice. And this is what you need to focus while for the UPSC examination. So three kinds. So what are the three kinds? That is start question, unstart questions. So there could be a possibility in the exam UPSC, which among the following is the unstart question? Which among the following is the unstart question, or which among the following is not the start question? So we will look at what is start question, unstart, and then short notice questions, because the questions are divided, or there are three kinds of questions in the parliament which has been asked in the first hour, that is in the question hour. And the start questions they are distinguished by asterisk. So this is asterisk, and this requires the oral answer. So in the start questions, the answer is oral. So the answer given is in the oral, and you also have this supplementary question. That is, when there is a answer given by the minister to the question which is being framed by the members, so there can be a supplementary questions being asked by the members to the minister in the start questions. Fine. So the start questions are oral, and there can be a supplementary questions can follow it, and unstart questions are the not oral but written. So there is a written answer given to the members who question the minister, and here supplementary questions cannot be followed. So there are no supplementary questions being asked by the members to the ministers in the unstarred questions. So unstarred questions, the answer would be given by the minister in the written form. In the written form. In starred, it is oral. In starred, you have the supplementary questions can follow, but in unstarred, supplementary questions cannot follow. And short notice question, they are all asked by giving a notice. So in this, there is a notice which is given in prior, and that in prior is at least 10 days. At least 10 days prior notice is given, and this is again answered orally. Please do understand, this is answered orally. So this is all what is very important that you need to focus for the preliminary examination point of view. Start question, unstart questions, and short notice questions. So start and short notice questions are answered orally. Unstart questions are answered in a written format, and in the unstart you do not have the supplementary question. That is, again you can ask various explanations or questions made by the minister's reply. So good job, Janardhan has joined, IS has joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKS IS Academy Daily News channel or Daily News Analysis. And we have also discussed that private members business is also been skipped. So we will also look at what is the private members business. So this is again an additional information which is very useful for you in regards to the prelims for quality point of view. So question hour we have looked at. Now we are focusing on the private members business. So the last 2.5 hours on every Friday or each Friday is generally, please do understand, is generally allotted, because there could be a twist. UPSC might miss out this. So generally allotted for transaction of the private members business. So who can go ahead with initiating this private members business? That is, the private member can initiate. So who is the private member? Because there could be a question again, which among the following statement is incorrect in regards to the private member of parliament? Which among the following questions are incorrect in regards to the private member of parliament? So you need to know who is termed or who is called as a private member. So private member is who? He is the member of the parliament, is the MP, member of the parliament, but he is not a minister. So an MP who is not a minister can go ahead with, or is called as a private member, and he can initiate a private member bill with a minimum of 50 MP support. So private members business, private member bill. Private member is the one who is an MP but who is not a minister. Who is not a minister is called a private member, and that private member or the one who is not a minister but an MP can initiate a private member bill with a support of minimum 50 MPs, and that is at the last 2.5 hours of sitting on every Friday. So this is very useful information for you in regards to the prelims point of view. So 0 hours, as we discussed, it is 0 hour as we discussed, it is in regards to the immediately followed after the question hour. noon time, 0 hour. So 0 hour is the opposition is asking at least let there be a 30 minutes because MP can raise, because 0 hours what happens in the 0 hours, important issues or national issues or which are important for the citizens of the nation, they are raised, those issues are discussed. So useful for you is the question R, 0 hour private members business for the prelims point of view. And then Rahul says, where did the procedure mention how the parliament session should go on? Lok Sabha Secretariat. Secretariat. You also have the Secretary General of Lok Sabha. You also have the Secretary General of Lok Sabha. So the Secretariat decides, and you have Business Advisory Committee, which looks into the business of Parliament. So the Secretariat is the one which focuses through the Business Advisory Committee, Council Committee, which looks into the schedule, how it has to, how the Parliament sessions have to function. I think Rahul, you understood it. Only on Friday that private members have to be initiate the bill, or on others day. Yes, it can be private members business bills. See, look at it. That is, I have written here, that is private members bills and private members resolutions. So on Fridays you have the private member business. So what is private member business? It is in regards to the private member bills and private member resolution, wherein a private member who wants to go ahead with coming out with a resolution or a bill is taken up on Friday. I think Madhu, you got the point. That is private. Here I put it. What is private members business? That is private members bills and the private members resolutions. So a resolution or a bill which is being initiated by the private member, that is who is not a minister, on Friday. So please do focus in regards to the question R, 0 hour and private members business, which are very useful for you in regards to the polity prelims UPSC point of view. And there is another news which talks about government bans PUBG, WeChat work, 116 other mobile apps. So it is all the government of India has gone ahead with banning of or banned the mobile apps or else China's mobile apps. Fine, and this is not the new. So you might be thinking, when it is not a new, why is this taken up in the daily news analysis? Yes, you will definitely get into the mode, because I will certainly take up the news which is very important for prelims point of view. So here we will focus why the necessity of taking this, because this is banned too. So earlier it has even the government has banned, and this is Act Ban 2.0. So almost earlier 59 or so, and now again 118. So now the part of it is, now major one is PUBG or WeChat work, Baidu, Camcard, and then Rise of Kingdoms, Lost Crusade, and Alipay. Not Paytm, Alipay. So these are all the one which the government has banned on September 2nd. So definitely we know that this is being taken up because of the skirmish or the face-off between India and China along the LAC. And we will look at why the government of India or the concerned ministry has gone ahead with banning it, because what they have stated, we will focus it. Okay, before I get into that, Shravani says private members bills introduced and discussed only on Fridays. Yeah. So Venkat Apparao has also joined. Narendra has also joined. Social work. A warm welcome to both of you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. So what the government says, why it has banned the mobile apps, that is 118, and even the previous one, entire ban Act 2 has taken place, because they say they are prejudicial to sovereignty. Prejudicial, please understand this phrase, is very important. Prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India, and it is prejudicial to defense of India. It is related to security of state and public order. This is very, very important. Very, very important. So, it is prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India. First one. And it is also in regards to the prejudicial to defense of India. Defense of India. And it is also prejudicial to security of state and public order. This is what you need to focus as a civil servant aspirant. Yes, banning of all the mobile apps, not really we are required, because I would very confidently say that which among the following were banned. I don't think UPSC might not focus on that, but why the government has banned, stating what reasons, so that we need to focus. So what do you mean by prejudicial? Prejudicial means harmful or damage. So they are causing damage to the sovereignty and integrity of India. They are causing damage to the defense of India. Those apps, mobile apps, all the ones which have been banned, they cause harm or damage to the security of the state and to the public order itself. And this is very important. And we have seen this was in addition to the earlier 59 Chinese which the government of India banned, and amongst that, which was very famous, was the TikTok, which the government of India has banned in June last year. So the one which is important here is the reasons. It is harmful to the sovereignty and integrity of India. It is harmful to the defense of India. It is harmful or damages the security of state and the public order. This is the point which you need to focus for prelims point of view, or a conceptual understanding the reason why the government has banned. Okay, no doubt it is a skirmish between India and China along the LAC which is going on, and we have, as I said yesterday and day before also, that South Bank of Pangong, the PLA troops are getting further into Indian territory, and again the situation along the LAC in the South Bank of Pangong Tso Lake is again tense. So there again the reaction from India side is banning or app ban 2.0. But for prelims point of view, prejudicial. The reasons we need to focus. And Sri BK has joined, Virachari has joined, Ramya Reddy has joined. A warm welcome to three of you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And here what is that you need to focus along with the reasons. So we have focused on the reasons. What are the reasons? 3 reasons we have looked at. 1, 2, 3. Fine. And here, who has gone ahead with banning this? Which ministry has banned these apps? It is under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So this ministry has banned. Which ministry? Please do understand, because you need to get this into your entire conceptual understanding. So, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ravi Shankar Prasad, has gone ahead with banning by invoking. This is very, very important for you. By invoking Section 69A of Information Technology Act. Why I am saying this is important is, on this Section 69A, there was a question in the mains, almost in 2016 we have seen, 2015-16 we have seen a question around 2016 2015-16, there was a question on the section 69 of information and technology based on the the citizens have privacy over information. Citizens privacy over information. So what I'm saying is, there the concept or the issue was different. Section 69, when it was asked in the mains almost 2015-16, the issue was different. That is in regards to the citizenship privacy over information. But here it is in regards to the banning of Chinese mobile apps. So look at it, the situation, the issue is different. Look at it, you need to look at the issue. Issue is different here. It is in regards to banning the Chinese mobile app. There in the year 2015-16, the government has also invoked the section 69 of Information Technology Act. But that was against the citizens have raised, that is the netizens. The right word to use is netizens. Citizens on internet. So there the netizens, that means citizens who are using the internet, their privacy was questioned. So section 69A is very important. And now the same 69A of the Information Technology Act has been invoked to ban the apps. And this is Act, this Information Technology Act should be read and it should be followed with Information Technology Rules 2009. So Information Technology Act and Information Technology Rules 2009. So what does that rule says? It talks about, or it lays down the procedure and the safeguards for what? For blocking of access of information by public. This is very important. So what does this Information Technology Rules 2009 talks about? It talks about safeguarding or the procedure of what? Of blocking the access. This is important. When you can get into the mode of the conceptual understanding of what the government or the ministry does or the department does, then you can very easily write the main answer. That means you have the short notes, you can build on it. So the Information Technology Rules 2009, it lays down the procedure and safeguards the blocking of access of information by public. So if public are blocking or the access, if the public are able to access, they will block by the procedures and safeguard through the Information Technology Rules 2009. So section 69A of the Information Technology Act and then Information Technology Rules 2009 has to be taken into consideration, which will be very, very useful for you in regards to the conceptual understanding of this entire ban of the Chinese mobile apps. And along with that, even the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, or you can take Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which is part of the Ministry of Home Affairs, has sent an exhaustive recommendation. So the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center has also sent the recommendations to ban the apps. Why? Because they are concerned about the public representations which have been made, which are part of others inside and outside the parliament, public representatives who had made the recommendation to ban the mobile apps, and that has been taken up by the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which is part of the Ministry of Home Affairs. This is important, you need to focus. So that is why I always say you need to focus on the ministry and the departments. If we can able to segregate the number of ministries and the number of departments, I hope you will not miss many of the questions, or you will miss only couple of questions in the prelims. You might get wrong, and that too I say Many of them will get it to the point, bang on target. You will never miss a question. So, Ministry of Information and Electronics and Information Technology, Section 69A of Information Technology and Information Technology Rules 2009, Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which is part of the Ministry of Home Affairs, have raised the concerns. So these are all very important for prelims point of view. And Harish has also joined. A warm welcome to you. Good morning to you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And another news is that as we are discussing this, that almost last couple of days also we have discussed, and we have discussed that the commander corps level talks were taking up, and I also said that the brigadier level talks were being taken up at Chuzul. And when the talks are going on, or else simultaneously when the talks are going on, but the talks remains inconclusive. That means there is no positive outcome out of the brigadier level talks. That is on the third day. That is what we are discussing on the third day. Earlier 2 days also we have discussed about this news. So what is important that we need to focus here is, even on the third day there is no positive result from both the sides in regards to the PLA or the People's Liberation Army, the way they have got into the south bank of Pangong Tse Lake, and also in the Rezang Law or Rechin Law or the mountains, which they have entered into the Indian territory. So we wanted them to move out of, or we wanted them to move away from the Indian territory, but the talks are not been positive. And the other one which we need to focus here is, a soldier has been killed. Here what is important is, a soldier has been killed. Who is the soldier? He is from Secretive Special Frontier Force. This is important. Probably you never know. There could be a question which could be asked on the Special Frontier Force in the prelims. Which among the following is incorrect in regards to the Special Frontier Force? So a soldier has been killed, and it was an accidental mine explosion. Which has taken place, and one of the soldier from the Secretive Special Frontier Force. And this Special Frontier Force are generally being used in the or along the LAC. Why? Because they want to dominate the peaks, that is the highest mountain ranges. This Special Frontier Force are used at the mountain ranges, at the highest peak. Why? Because from the highest peak we can try to get the overall view of the, here in this case, the PLA, that is the People's Liberation Army, their movements we can identify. So we wanted to dominate the peaks on the Indian side along the LAC, so that the PLA's movement along the Chuzul sector near the Spanger Gap. So the Spanger Gap in the Chuzul sector, and then Rezangla or Rechinla Pass are the one which the entire action is revolving. That is why we have the Special Frontier Force, which is trying to keep an eye on the PLA, which is trying to get into the Indian territory by dominating the peaks, that is the mountain ranges, so that when you are at the high level or the top, you can definitely have the clear view on the downside of the movements of the PLA or the Chinese troops. Okay, yeah. Okay, here I would say Harish has joined. Okay, warm welcome to you, Harish. And then Savani says, ban app 2 is also because of China's intelligence war. Yes, as I said, many of the, I did discuss this almost 2 weeks back, a fortnight ago. I did discuss that you have the intelligence law, national intelligence law, wherein many of the Chinese firms which are having their investment in the offshore, that is away from China, they have directly or indirectly, they have linked to the PLA, that is People's Liberation Army, and thereby the information the People's Liberation Army might get it. That is why they have also banned it. Very well said, Shravani. Very well said. Absolutely. And Azmat Khan has joined. We have warm welcome to you, Azmat. Good morning and warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And Mohammad Nashwa says, good morning, sir. I'm degree first year. Daily news analysis is important for me for the groups also. Yes, absolutely. That is what AKS IAS Academy provides examinations, provides coaching for the examination for UPSC, State Public Service Commissions, and also SSC combined graduate level exams and also CLAT examinations. So, Public Service Commissions exam, it is certainly useful, and I would, with great determination, I would say that you would be beneficial by AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Tumala. And I thank you and a warm welcome to you, Mohammad Nashra. And this just for again, so that it will be in your mind, subconscious mind, it will be stored, it will be very live. For that I have taken this image. So Chuzul is this area, this, and you have Demchuk. South of Chuzul is Demchuk, and then again you have Shok River. You also have the Galwan Valley here. This area is Galwan Valley, and you have the hot spring areas or Gogra area, hot spring areas. This is Depsang Plains. As I said earlier, also Daulat Beg Old here. I'm just repeating it once for your sake. So Karakoram Pass, Siachen Glacier, which is the highest battlefield in the world, and you have the Karakoram Ranges here because you have the Karakoram National Highway, which is built by China. Karakoram National Highway, right? And you have the Kargil here. We have seen that Kargil War, fine. So again, why I've taken this is Spanger. This is the Pyeonggong So Lake. Pyeonggong So Lake. This one. And this is Spangor. And then Spangor Gap this is. And then Rekhin Mountain or Rezangla. Again, all these for geography map based. And you have to focus all this through map based only. Only then it will be stored in your subconscious mind. And what is important is whatever you read has to be stored in your subconscious mind, so that you will have the ability to retrieve it whenever you require. And now again we'll get into the another news which says the UNSC blocks Pak bid to name Indians in terror list. So our keyword is United Nations Security Council. Why? Because in regards to international relations, you have the UNO, part of the one of the organ of the UNO is United Nations Security Council. So this United Nations Security Council can be taken up in regards to the static, or you should focus in regards to static part and then dynamic part. Which dynamic part in the sense questions which could be asked in regards to the static, that is what is about UNSC and the members, permanent member, non-permanent member, total member 5, permanent members, non-permanent members 10, and then total members 15. So that is the static part. And then dynamic part is what is happening. So United Nations Security Council, which is led by France, UK and US. And what are the total UNSC permanent members? Permanent members are 5, that is France, UK, US and then Russia and China. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine. So out of 5, 1, 2, 3 permanent members have what? Have rejected. What they have rejected? They have rejected the attempts made by Pakistan. They have rejected the attempts made by Pakistan. What? So Pakistan was trying to designate Indians as terrorists. So the three permanent members of UNSC, United Nations Security Councils, have rejected. These three countries, permanent members, have rejected the Pakistan's attempt to designate Indians as terrorists. So here this is important, terrorist. But terrorist under what? This is again important. Under United Nations Security Council resolution. This is important for prelims. 1267. And that is what? It is a committee for counter-terrorism sanctions. Keywords are important. So the Pakistan is repeatedly trying to, or it is attempting to designate Indians. How many Indians? 4 Indians. That they are global terrorists. Under United Nations. Under what? Under United Nations Resolution 1267. And there you have the committee which looks into the United Nations Resolution 1267, wherein it designates an individual as a terrorist, and that is called as Committee for Counter-Terrorism Sanctions. Okay, Madhu says 5. Yeah, absolutely 5. That is France, UK, US, Russia and China. And then the UNSC committee decided to block the designation. So Pakistan is attempting to designate Indians, I said. So the Indians are Angara Apache is one amongst them, Gobinda Patnaik, third one is Venumada Dongara, and then fourth is Ajoy Mistry. So these 4 of them, wherein Pakistan is attempting to designate these 4 Indians as the terrorist. Why? Because they say, the Pakistan says that these 4 Indians are alleged, they have formed an Afghanistan-based Indian terror syndicate. So what Pakistan is blaming on the 4 Indians is that they have formed Afghanistan-based Indian terror syndicate. This is important. Okay. Financial Action Task Force. Financial Action Task Force, wherein you have the FATF here. Okay, for your benefit I am saying. Financial Action Task Force is the one which is now have put Pakistan under grey list. Pakistan under grey list, that it will not provide any kind of financial assistance to it. Financial assistance it will not provide. Why it will not provide any financial assistance? Because a country which is involved in the money laundering or which is supporting the terrorist organizations, those countries will be part of the list, FATF. So Pakistan is under the grey list because it is in the process of money laundering, and that money is being provided, or it is reaching the terrorist organizations, and in turn it is supporting the terrorist organization and the terrorists across the world. I think Madhu, you got it. So Pakistan is blaming that the 4 Indians are part of, or they have formed Afghanistan based Indian terror syndicate, and this was organizing the banned terrorist group that is called as the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and Jamaat-ul-Ahrar to carry out attacks in Pakistan. So the Pakistan is claiming that the 4 Indians have formed the syndicate that is called as the Afghanistan based Indian terror syndicate, and they are part of the banned terrorist organizations or the groups in Pakistan, that is Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and Jamaat-ul-Ahrar. They are with these 2 terrorist groups which have been banned in Pakistan, and they are actually planning to carry out attacks in Pakistan, and this is what is being blamed by Pakistan. But as I said, these 3 permanent members have rejected, but Russia and China did not try to block. Russia and China did not try to block the move by Pakistan. So it is very clear in the United Nations Security Council, Pakistan is certainly being supported by China and Russia. So by this, we can try to get into the mode of what is happening to India, whether there is a support from Russia and China in the United Nations Security Council. So that is why China will definitely try to stop the bid what India is wanting to be the permanent member of United Nations Security Council. No doubt next year 2022 India will be the non-permanent member. So there is another news which talks about Mission Karma Yogi to train government officials. So what is the keyword here? We need to focus for prelims point or UPSC point of view is Mission Karma Yogi. So the keyword here is Mission Karma Yogi. So what is this Mission Karma Yogi does? It trains whom? The government officials. It trains the government officials, and this is what it is, a new national capacity building, and it is performance evaluation programs for civil servants. So it will train the government officials. Government officials are civil servants, that is you all in the future. You all in the future, you all, the one who are all preparing and then listening to my lecture, that is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. It is for you all. So the Mission Karma Yogi trains the government officials that it is a new national capacity building, and it is also a performance evaluation program for civil servants. Performance evaluation program. So you will be based on your performance. You will be based on your performance. So what is important keywords here is national capacity building. It is a new national capacity building, and it is a performance evaluation program for civil servants. And this scheme, this is a scheme. So you need to focus this for the prelims point of view. And the government is going ahead with an outlay. It would spend 510 crore over a period of 5 years for implementation of the scheme, that is Mission Karma Yogi scheme, which will cover 46 lakh central government employees. It is for central government employees. Please do understand, not for the state, central government employees. And in this, the civil servants have to be paying an annual subscription of rupees 431 rupees for this scheme. Annual subscription. So they have to pay, they will be charged, civil servants will be charged of rupees 431 annually, and the government is coming up with the scheme with an outlay of 510 crores of rupees. And Information and Broadcasting Ministry, minister is the one which is looking into it, and the minister is Prakash Javadekar has said this. Again, the Mission Karma Yogi, third point, it is post recruitment reform. It is a post recruitment reform of the center's HRD ministry. HRD development will take place, and it is almost as equivalent as we have discussed this also. We have discussed this National Recruitment Agency last week. Last week we have discussed National Recruitment Agency. That means you will have the examination, common examination for various central government employees. So this is what? This is pre-recruitment reform. Please do understand these keywords, which are very, very important. So the national recruitment, pre-recruitment reform is National Recruitment Agency, and the post recruitment reform is Mission Karma Yogi scheme. This is important, how you need to common eligibility test. Yeah. So pre-recruitment reform, which among the following is pre-recruitment reform? So definitely the answer is National Recruitment Agency. Which among the following is post-recruitment reform? Is Mission Karma Yogi scheme. Post-recruitment reform and then pre-recruitment reform. Mission Karma Yogi scheme, post-recruitment reform, and then National Recruitment Agency, pre-recruitment reforms. We have looked at information of broadcasting minister. I always say you need to be thorough in regards to the ministries and departments I said. So information and broadcasting ministry we have looked at. Ministry, I'll write it here. And then the other one which is involved is Department of Personnel and Training. Personnel and Training. So here what is coming? Department. Here you have the ministries. So as I said, ministries and departments you need to be focused. And what this Department of Personnel and Training Secretary is making a point here is that this program or else the Mission Karma Yogi scheme will support a transition from rules based to roles based. These all keywords are very important while you are writing your short notes for the mains examination. So it is a transition. So there is a shift which will happen. What the Department of Personnel and Training is saying is that the Mission Karma Yogi scheme will be a part wherein it will be a transition from the rules based to roles. So your role, that is your performance, will be evaluated, not your rule, that is your position. Earlier it is position based, now it is performance based. Please do understand. Earlier it was position based or rules based. Now the Mission Karma Yogi scheme will be rules based, that is performance based. Looking at the official competencies, the work will be allotted. So the work allocation to the civil service civil servants will be based on the competences or the competency of the officials, and it will focus on the functional and behavioral competences. So it will focus on functional and behavioral competences, and it will also include monitoring framework for performance evaluation. So it in the sense I'm talking about this Mission Karma Yogi scheme, it will focus on the functional and behavioral competencies. So your behavior, your performance will be focused, and it will include what? Monitoring framework for what? Performance evaluation. And this capacity building program, which is part of the Mission Karma Yogi scheme, will deliver, will focus, will include and will deliver through integrated government online training. So that is called as IGOT Karma Yogi digital platform. So which among the following platform is the capacity building program of the Mission Karma Yogi scheme for the civil servants? So it is the integrated government online training digital platform. So all these are important. So the ministry is important, department is important. What the department is talking about, the capacity building program of the Mission Karma Yogi scheme is it will have a transition from the rules based to roles based, that is position based to performance based, and this scheme will focus on the functional and behavior competences of the civil servant, and it will include the monitoring framework for performance evaluation, and it will deliver through integrated government online training digital platform called as IGOT-KTB, Karma Yogi scheme. So this is very useful for you in regards to the prelims point of view, and it is aimed at, all these are very important because we did discuss about focus, we discussed about deliver, fine, and it is a capacity building measure or program, and it is aimed at what? It is aimed at what? Building future ready civil service. Very important. So the Mission Karma Yogi scheme is aiming at what? It is aiming at building a future ready civil services, building a future ready civil service, and they should have what? Right attitude, right skills and right knowledge, which are all aligned to vision of New India. So which among the following is associated to the vision of New India? It is associated to the Mission Karma Yogi scheme, which is a capacity building program for the civil servants. And this is Mission Karma Yogi is what? It is aimed at building a future ready civil service with right attitude, right skills and right knowledge, which is aligned with the vision of New India. And who will be the apex body of it? So who is the apex body of it? It is the Prime Minister's Public Human Resource Council. These are all very important, I am saying, for the prelims point of view, because the question can be framed on ministry, the question can be framed on department, it can be framed on what is the focus of the mission, what is it includes, that is the framework for performance evaluation, how does it deliver, and what does it aims, and who is the apex body. So this you need to segregate into this way, these keywords, and then when you read it, then definitely you will not lose what you say a question from this particular scheme for the civil service servants. So apex body is the Prime Minister's Public Human Resource Council, which will set up as the apex body to direct the reforms with an autonomous capacity building commission. So it is an autonomous body. It is an autonomous capacity building commission. And this will establish, this is established to what? To manage. What it will manage? It will manage the reformed systems. It will manage the reformed systems, and it will harmonize the training standards. So it will manage the reformed systems. What are all the reforms? That is rules based to roles based. That is performance, position based to performance based, and it will also look at the harmonizing the training standards. So it will look at the training standards. So it will manage the reforms system, and it will harmonize the training standards. So all these are very, very useful for you in regards to the prelims point of view, and also means because there can be a question on the mission Karma Yogi scheme on the civil servants by the Department of Personnel and Training. And there is another news which talks about experts puzzled at virus cases drop in Pakistan. So, the virus cases. We know that virus cases, I mean the SARS-CoV-2 virus, are definitely increasing. There is a spur increase of the SARS-CoV-2 infected cases across the world, and India also we have seen now again in Delhi the cases are again slightly increasing. Fine, we have seen Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka also the cases are increasing. Fine. So along with the Maharashtra and the Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal, if you look at, yes, they are increasing. But if you look at the virus cases in Pakistan, so we will focus the virus cases in Pakistan. Why should we focus? I will tell you. There is one keyword which we need to focus. So we know that Pakistan is the one country which have initially been affected by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which all the other countries in the across the globe or across the world have been infected by the SARS-CoV-2. So Pakistan was not the country which has been left, but it has been also affected. It has been also affected by the novel coronavirus. But it appears to have dodged the worst of pandemic. What do you mean by dodged? It appears to be avoided the worst. Avoided. Look at it. The experts are puzzled. Experts are puzzled. Why experts are puzzled? Why? Because they feel that the Pakistan, the country, is avoiding the worst of the pandemic, wherein that country, Pakistan, is actually with, in regards to its health, it's baffling, it is troubling, and it has fears in the people of Pakistan because of the SARS-CoV-2, and the hospitals infrastructure is also very bad. So in regards to its health infrastructure and the fear mindset of the crowded urban areas, and the hospitals infrastructure is very, dilapidated condition. But in spite of that, the country appears to have been avoided the worst of the pandemic. That is the biggest question mark. And we have seen the history of Pakistan that it has failed to contain the history. If you look at the history, it has failed to contain various infected diseases such as polio, tuberculosis and hepatitis. But we are amazed to look at that Pakistan is in the verge of avoiding the worst of pandemic in spite of its underfunded healthcare system or healthcare sector, in spite of Pakistan being crowded, in spite of Pakistan being in a multi-generational homes or packed apartment buildings wherein virus can transmit very rampantly, that is very fast, it can travel. But in spite of that, Pakistan is avoiding the worst of pandemic. That is the biggest question mark. Why or how? We'll look at. So there are hypotheses. Pakistan has proposed numerous hypotheses. So what is that numerous hypothesis? That they have considered that because Pakistan has young population or younger population, and its condition they are talking about, it's all hypothesis. Please do understand, hypothesis. It's not proved one scientifically, or what do you say, rationally. Hot and humid climate, and they are talking about the natural immunity. So these are the three hypotheses where the Pakistan is proposing, because of they are able to avoid the worst of the pandemic because of the young population. They say they have the entire population, Pakistan population, if you look at, they say they have young population more. They're crediting the young population. Because of that, there is less of the SARS-CoV-2 virus infected cases. And then hot and humid climate. But we can definitely take it into consideration. India is also part of equatorial belt and hot and humid. But we have seen along March, April, May, June, the cases have increased in India. So how that hypothesis is again have to be looked at. So natural immunity, they say that, fine. And the other keyword what we need to focus here for UPSC is the median age. So what the calculation when done in regards to the population, the median age, median in the sense when the entire population is divided into two, that is young and old. When it is divided into two, it is called as median age. So young age one other side, and the other age the old age. So when you take the median age, that is the younger side, the median age is 22 in Pakistan. So they say that probably because of the young age, they are having natural immunity. That is why it is not impacting much, and it is disproportionately impacting the older people with prior health complication, that is comorbidity. What do we mean by comorbidity? That means the patient or the individual who is already suffering with some kind of illness or disease or ailment. Fine, that is what they say. And this is in regards to the Pakistan median age. And if you focus at the Italy median age is 46.5, and then India or Indian median age is 26. So for this keyword is that you need to focus for preliminary examination point of view. Okay, all the hypothesis, that is not really, but just we have looked at. Why we have looked at is to get into the mode of median age. There could be a possibility that median age could be used as a keyword in your examination. And the South Asian nations, if you take it, it is only 2,95,000 infections. So this also I have once focused almost 3 months back, that the SARS-CoV-2 virus which is impacting or which is infecting the South Asian nations. This is also important. This keyword is important for mains point of view. How COVID-19 has impacted the SARS or South Asian nations, and how South Asian nations have been excluded from maximum mortality and morbidity compared to the European countries, compared to the African countries. So there could be a question in the mains. So South Asian countries. So median age, that is why I have taken this concept, median age, which is very, very useful for you for the prelims as well as mains examinations. And here we look at the question for the day. the stringent national security law. The stringent national security law against political dissenters. That means who is talking against dissenters, political dissenters. So against the political situation or political rules and regulations. In the absence of any appeal to violence, in the absence of any appeal to violence is something to be condemned in all cases. So why this is in, why I have taken this? Because as we have discussed yesterday, Dr. Kafil Khan, he has been released. The Allahabad High Court has ordered UP government to release Dr. Kafil Khan, and mother of Dr. Kafil Khan has gone ahead with, yes, Shravani, yes, very well said, has gone ahead with a writ in the Allahabad High Court, that is the habeas corpus, wherein Dr. Kafil Khan, the UP government has booked him under National Security Law or Act, not law, Act 1980. Fine. So we have discussed that, and it is in today's editorial. And I also said that with very great determination and grit yesterday also, that whatever, and yesterday was what in the editorial? Yesterday in the editorial it was in regards to the government consumption and private consumption, yesterday's editorial. And today's editorials is in regards to the Dr. Kafil Khan, what we have discussed yesterday in the daily news analysis. So as I said, you can rely on AKS IAS Academy daily news analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan. And the question is the use of stringent national security law against political dissenters. Why Dr. Kafil Khan was booked under NSA? Because he has spoken on the Citizenship Amendment Act. So against the political dissenters in the absence of any appeal. So there has to be an appeal against the violence is something to be condemned in all cases. So you comment on it. Fine. So I hope you can write this answer. And then to recapitulate it, as we have discussed, the first one in regards to the Lok Sabha Secretariat, that is in regards to the question hour and then 0 hour and then private members business. It is absolutely in regards to the prelims polity point of view, which will be useful. And this, I've said this in regards to again national security. This will be useful for you in regards to the national security, which will be part of the internal security of GS paper 3 of mains examination. Internal security. India-China talks at Chuzul remains inconclusive. Yes, again this is in regards to the India and then China, when we were talking about special, the force, protective force or frontier force, special frontier force for current affairs point of view. And then UNSC, again in regards to the IR point of view, we have discussed this for current affairs, that is in regards to the United Nations Security Council resolutions 1267 and Mission Karma Yogi scheme. Again this is very important in regards to the schemes taken up by the government for the prelims as well as mains examinations. And the next puzzle, this is again I have taken this in regards to the keyword, that is median age, which could be again for the prelims examination and mains also, because here we were talking about South Asian region, wherein the cases of mortality and morbidity, comparatively or less than the European countries. So I hope this session was an informative, knowledgeable one, both for prelims as well as mains examinations. That is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Tumala. So you would definitely be benefited because I focus from macro level and then micro level. So I definitely take it into consideration of micro level and micro level strategy for the UPSC examination. I would say a big thank you and good luck. Do your best. And do like the video, share the video and subscribe the video. As I'm saying it repeatedly daily, do subscribe to AKS IAS English channel, which I would be, or very soon we will be, or gradually we will be shifting the daily news analysis which I am taking up now in this channel will be gradually shifted to AKS IAS Academy English channel. And then do visit the website of AKS IAS Academy and also subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And I would once again say that this was an informative, knowledgeable session in regards to prelims as well as mains examination. And I would say once again that the daily news analysis, see you tomorrow again at 7:30 a.m. for daily news analysis. Tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. And then I would say do get into the mode of consistency in regards to your preparation, and then do stick to your schedule, and then do take care of your physical health and mental health. And then I would say a very big thank you to all and all the best for your preparation. Thank you, and then all the best for your preparation. See you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m.